The most common cause of moisture in walls and floors is the absence of horizontal and vertical sealing. Such phenomena occur most frequently in old buildings. In the past, there was neither such an awareness nor an obligation to apply sealing methods, except perhaps when choosing a relatively dry location for the house. Meanwhile, the natural watercourses were interrupted by increasing construction, especially by roads and tunnels. In many areas, this has changed the hydrological conditions. As a result, there was moisture damage, particularly from groundwater to the structures. This, in turn, required new forms of sealing. But even today, not all builders pay sufficient attention to this problem. It is also not uncommon for the sealing of wall foundations or floors in new buildings to be given secondary importance. Yet it is always necessary to protect ceilings and walls against rising damp. For this purpose, they should of course be protected with external vertical insulation. It is also advisable to use an insulation for concrete that has high resistance to salt and chlorides in the groundwater. They are capable of dissolving the plasticizers contained in bituminous compounds and concretes over the years. This process creates pores that allow water to penetrate and destroy the building material. Here, there is a choice between surface sealants with shorter durability or mineral mortars, which penetrate the walls and reinforce their entire thickness, also from to seal internally. Exactly such moisture symptoms appeared in the basement of the Museum of Folklore in Graz. They had been observed in the building of this institution for years. They manifested in the peeling of paint from the walls and plaster on the floors. In some areas, this phenomenon occurred up to a height of 2 meters. The fight against the effects of moisture on the walls consisted of repairing the damage to the plaster with deeply breathable mortars. It was assumed that these would not block the moisture in the wall, but would pass it on through their open diffusion structure. In some areas where the effects of the water were particularly uncontrollable, especially at the entrance to the museum's basement, the walls were covered with drywall to simply conceal the wet walls. After some time, the management of the facility decided to solve the problem definitively and concretely. This was especially necessary since the makeshift renovations, ordered every 2 to 3 years, did not have the desired effect. So they turned to our company. This was especially true since we had been recommended by another museum, for which we had performed similar repair and sealing work a few years earlier. By the way, there were already 3 museums in Graz where we had provided this service, and the Folk Museum was the 4th. During the technical audit that preceded the service, we measured the moisture content of the walls and floors with a tactile device. This does not require removing any damaged plaster, which is advantageous during normal museum operations that invite visitors. In contrast, we planned a larger renovation of the walls during the holiday period when the museum's visitor numbers are at their lowest. Back to the audit. We concluded that the previous renovations were carried out according to the general state of the art, with the exception of the NCT mortar technique, which is an effective intervention as it is solely mineral-based in the masonry. The building expert commissioned by the investor compared it to Roman mortar technique. To reduce the environmental impact of the work, we plan to carry out the renovation work during the holiday period. Additionally, we closed the basement to visitors for 1 week and organized access to the exhibition rooms from another side of the museum building. We would like to add immediately that the administration the full extent of the work we recommended to them had accepted from us. First, the museum representatives wanted to eliminate the moisture problem once and for all, and second, we provided a 30-year guarantee for such renovation works on dry and mold-free wall surfaces. Regarding the technique for carrying out the renovation, we first scraped the walls mechanically and milled off the remnants of the old organic mortar. Then we soaked them. And why? Because this ensures that the NCT crystal mortar penetrates deeply into the masonry through spraying. It is also worth mentioning that a sufficient number of air purifiers in buildings like basements is essential. It is about to avoid dust in the ventilation systems during the work. Therefore, our work during the forging and grinding phase was done with pumps, were accompanied with filters to remove the dust from inside the basement. For the mineral sealing, we then applied the NCT SEM sealing mortar with trowels and then smoothed it with the mineral plaster thermal paste to achieve a completely flat and even surface. This is responsible not only for the aesthetics of the wall, but also insulates it, and protects it from mold spores. In the next step, we used paint, naturally consistently mineral paint for the decorative layer. As a final touch, we finished this paint with NCT Hydro, sprayed with a product based on water glass. It should be added that NCT Hydro also completely protects the paint from possible algae, mold and fungus infestation. The glass-like structure of the coating gives microorganisms no chance to form in the paint. What was special about the renovation? As far as the mineral mortar technique is concerned, there were no surprises here. We eliminated all organic chemical materials and replaced them with purely mineral ones. It is certainly worth mentioning that the work required the highest level of cleanliness. They had to be practically dust-free and as short as possible. This was done to avoid damaging the paintings and sculptures exhibited in the museum. Additionally, the rooms in which we conducted the renovation were separated by plastic sheets from the other rooms. The entire work took 2.5 weeks, including filling, painting, and reinstalling the staircase in the entrance area. To complete the renovation faster, Tatarsin said that to achieve this, we also worked on Saturdays. What durability will our renovation have for the users of the Folk Culture Museum in Graz? The substructure preparation and the Roman plaster technique we discussed guarantee durability for decades and an aesthetic appearance of the walls. Furthermore, the additional effect besides drying and protection against mold is that the vertical partitions are strengthened by the formation of a dense crystal network within them. During the inspection of the work, the museum management was very satisfied with the result. But not only that, the work was hardly disruptive and was completed on time.
If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more construction tips. Thank you for watching and see you in the next project.